Shri Krishna Chaytanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we've come to Nabadwip Dham for Nabadwip Dham Parikrama, starting from Sri Chaytanya Saraswat Mat, founded by His divine grace, Srila Bhakti Rock Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. But at the same time, simultaneously, same but different, we are actually being hosted from Thailand, from Gupta Govardhan. Double Gupta Govardhan, because Govardhan, our temple in Nabadwip is at Gupta Govardhan, and here the Gupta Govardhan ashram in Thailand. So Gupta Govardhan ashram. And so Goswami Maharaj just joined us. I mean, we've just joined Goswami Maharaj, in fact, and the team there. So first of all, Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, and to all the already assembled devotees eager to participate in the parikrama ki Jai to all of you. And today we have, for one day anyway, for today, simultaneous Portuguese translation, and we have a good contingent from Brazil already with us, eager to hear. So in addition to the regular translations of the Chinese, Russian, Spanish, today also Portuguese. And we're very happy to welcome the Brazilian Bhaktivinoda and Rasikananda Prabhu. I can see his lips moving, keeping pace with everything that's taking place. He's being very brave. So Maharaj, let me pass everything to you for introducing us, beginning us, if you wish, Maharaj. We are with you, seated in front of you.
Babaji Maharaj like to quote this sloka, the beginning of the Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, favorite verse, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru. Nindantam pulakot karena bikasam nipa prasunachtvim prodrikwit prabhujadvayam hari hari itu chaivadantam muhu nrityandam dutamasru nirjarachai sinchantam urvitalam Gayantam nija parasadaya parivritam Sri Gaura Chandram Nama Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemava Divyatsha Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. And with that, Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Thakur Srila Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Sri Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinode Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Srila Jagannth Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Rup Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Sri Divagopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Jiva Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Govinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Nabadwip Dham ki Jai, Entourage Mayapur Dham ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai, Sri Gupta Govardhan ki Jai, Sri Gupta Govardhan and all its extensions ki Jai. Madhusudan, he's also in Gupta Govardhan, in Vila Govinda. That means Gupta Govardhan, where the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat is established, but for those who are the sincere followers, then where they are, and especially worshipping Sri Giriraj Govardhan, it's an extension of Sri Gupta Govardhan. Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi ki jai. Om Vishnupad Vishvavarenius Vilayasi Bhaktivinode Swami Prabhupad ki jai. Sri Chaytanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinode Avadhut Maharaj ki jai. Sannyasi Vrinda ki jai. Seva Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So Maharaj, begin.
Well, yes. So the mood always is, we are starting from Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, from Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, and traditionally, in fact, we start right in front of Guru Maharaj. At Guru Maharaj's Samadhi Mandir, and Gurudev himself comes and garlands the leaders of the Parikrama and hands
also,
many
Maharaj, if you remember,
yes.
And I know you do, when you said we start with Guru Maharaj, in Guru Maharaj's time, we go in front of his veranda, and Guru Maharaj would come to the edge of the veranda and bless all the devotees. So after, in that time, then that transferred to Srila Guru Maharaj's Samadhi, continued.
Indeed, Maharaj. And indeed, the parikrama starts from there and goes around. So after Guru Maharaj's disappearance, then it is true, when we come all the way around all of the temples, means also Gurudev's Acharya Bhavan, around the ashram building where Srila Guru Maharaj's Bhajan Kutir was upstairs. And one year, the devotees, they went out through the gate that's beside the centenary building. And Gurudev was positively unhappy and told that the devotees must come in front of Guru Maharaj, that Guru Maharaj now also is seeing the devotees, and we come. So then after that, the devotees every time carefully coming in front of Guru Maharaj and giving obeisances, not just passing by and with a cupped hands like this or prayerful hands like this, but giving obeisances in front of Guru Maharaj and then continuing. So this beginning of our parikrama and coming before the deities, which is just where the gate is, the main gate for the temple, then coming in front of the deities, obeisances, and then continuing on our journey. So Maharaj, today our journey is taking us to Nabadwip town, but only in transit. That is, we are going to the Ghat, where the boats cross over to Mayapur, and already arrangement is made for however many 100 tickets we need. They're pre-purchased. And then we go to the Ghat, and the devotees board the boats in a very organized way to make sure the boats are full to the top. Not so organized, but the boats are full to the top. And then we cross over to Mayapur, and our journey today is following the road, essentially. There's one road, though I saw on Google Maps today, there's now a Mayapur bypass, which I thought, what? I don't know what kind of a road it is, but in our time, there was one road going straight, and on each side of the road, there are various temples. And so
and that road its name was Bhaktisiddhanta Road. It was named after Saraswati Thakur.
Jai.
I don't know the present situation, but years ago.
Yeah. Wonderful. And Maharaj, we're at the beginning of the parikrama, so we're just starting out. So if you wish, just very briefly, I can remind the devotees while on parikrama the 10 offenses to the holy Dham, because we're going to be going especially to the center, to where Mahaprabhu appeared, Entourage today. So I can just very quickly just mention this, and we can try to think this wherever we are with the deities, devotees, it is the holy Dham. And today it's a good opportunity to remind ourselves. There's 10 offenses, so just very simply, if everyone can remember them and follow them on our parikrama. 1, not to commit offense to the Guru or have any contempt to the Guru who is the revealer of the Dham. So not to offend the Guru. 2, temporary. To think that the holy Dham is temporary is an offense. And then 3, A and B, aggression. So to commit violence towards any of the residents of the holy Dham or to any of the pilgrims who come to the holy Dham. And 3B is ordinary, to consider that they are ordinary or mundane. That goes for the residents and the pilgrims who come. So it's number 3. Number 4, mundane as a key word. So to perform mundane activities while living in the Dham is the 4th offense. 5th offense, business. Earning money by or making a business of deity worship and the chanting of the holy name of Sri Krishna. So 6, to think that the holy Dham belongs to some mundane country or province such as Bengal, or to think that the Dham of the Lord is equal to a holy place connected to some demigod. Or the 3rd part of this verse of number 6 is to attempt to measure the area of the Dham. And 7, the 7th offense to the Dham is the same as the 7th offense to the holy name, which is beginning with for 7, sin, to commit sinful acts while in the Dham. And just 3 to go. Number 8, to consider that Sri Vrindavan and Sri Nabadwip are different, to consider them differently. They're both in the highest quarter of the highest plane. Number 9, to blaspheme the Shastras, which glorify the holy Dham. And number 10, 2 parts, to be faithless and to think that the glories of the holy Dham are imaginary. So we're going to be hearing so many glories along the way. We're going to be traveling through the Dham. So it is very good for us to keep these points in mind. And we try to remind the devotees at the very beginning of our parikrama. So with this reminder and with the auspicious beginning, with the garlands and the parikrama of Nabadwip Sri Chaytanya Saraswat Mat, then we've already, I think, headed to the
Avadhut Maharaj ki
the Ganga. Jai. So we've just headed to the Ganga, crossed the Ganga, and I think at this point, then I'll simply pass over the microphone and everything to Srila Goswami Maharaj and Srila Avadhut Maharaj, both of whom have made this pilgrimage and parikrama more than me, because actually, generally, we are looking after the devotees, and on this particular day we'll be arranging a prasadam further down the road. So both Goswami Maharaj and Avadhut Maharaj are much more familiar, in fact, with the various temples which line the road as we come from Mayapur, the road which we just learned. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, or Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Marg, something like this, the name of the road named after Srila Saraswati Thakur. So Maharaj, to you.
But where are we?
Oh, we've just got, okay, we've survived the journey across the Ganges. The boat has not sunk, so we're dry, and we've landed at the Ghat in Mayapur. And first there is the temple of Lord Shiva, the protector of Mayapur. It's a small temple, actually, which was at some point under the care of Srila Govinda Maharaj. And you walk down into the steps there, and we take permission of Lord Shiva to enter within Mayapur and to deep. And then we continue along that road, and Maharaj, there are the different Gaudiya mats are there. But I think generally we'll come first, we'll come and have time in the temple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in the Pushpa Samadhi and Darsan of the deities, and have some talks there. And as you wish, Maharaj, before that, there are other temples, as you know, of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Sranga Goswami Maharaj,
yes,
Srila Madhusudan Maharaj, Madhava Maharaj.
Bhakti Madhav Maharaj.
Bhakti
Yes.
Daita Madhava Maharaj. So, Maharaj, as you wish, then you can take, take us into whichever temples you like to, and we are seated at your feet, Maharaj, to hear.
One thing, I just like to read a little excerpt from the Nabadwip Dham Mahatmyam, where, because we know it's Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Jiva Goswami. So they are the inaugurators of the Nabadwip Dham Parikrama. And it's mentioned very beautiful. I mean, everyone should read this when they can, by Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. It's revealed by him. It's astonishing. It's impossibly astonishing. So Guru Maharaj, when praising Bhaktivinode Thakur and his gifts, as I mentioned yesterday with regard to Srila Gurudev, when seeing the Jaiva Dharma, the Navadvip Dham Mahatmyam, the Navadvip Bhava Taranga, Chaytanya Shikshamritam, all the songs, what else we have? Prem Pradeep, so many books by Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. And hearing this narrative of his life, how he gradually comes in connection with the Eastern Savior, Sri Chaitanya Dev, and then begins to study Charitamrita, this kind of narrative arc. And I'm saying to Guru Maharaj, and then Jaiva Dharma, and these magnificent works spilling out of his pen in the evening hours, and Surabhi Kunj, Swarup Ganj, Swananda Sukhada Kunj, what is the other name? Surabhi Kunj. And Guru Maharaj said, yes, when we consider the extensive nature of his contribution, the magnitude, the infinite magnitude of the contribution of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, he said, then we cannot but conclude, he said, that his wealth was not acquired in this lifetime. Although he's showing these pastimes of coming in connection and getting a guru, and as one should, as a devotee should, to show that, he's saying, then we can understand by the magnitude of the wealth of his gift, it was not acquired in this lifetime, but rather that he descended from that higher plane to distribute something. And Srila Gurudev liked to say, attracted by the wealth and the melted heart of Bhaktivinode Thakur, that brought Srila Saraswati Thakur down as his servitor and, distributor. Right? He's brought all the wealth. You have to distribute that wealth. You have to have a program for, the logistics of distribution, were conceived by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and took form in Sri Gaudiya Math. So Srila Guru Maharaj, and always assessing and, encrypting, condensing the essence in many of his sloka glorification. He said, Gurudam Grantadam Gaura Damadam Namadam Buddha Bhaktidam Buddhidam Bande Bhaktivinodadam Sada. What are the gifts of Bhaktivinode Thakur for the Krishna consciousness movement? everything, whatever we have, has come by the grace of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. Our songs, recently we're praising Narottam Thakur, so told Guru Maharaj to say, Narottam Paribar, Bhaktivinode Paribar. He's that stature, right? Bhaktivinode Thakur. So Gurudam, Grantadam, all of our books, Gauradam, he reveals the abode of Mahaprabhu. We who had the good fortune to go there, as Srila Madhusudan Maharaj is saying, we must check ourselves from taking it for granted. Because now we see so many temples, Mayapur's turned into a city. In fact, the city that Bhaktivinode Thakur mystically envisioned has appeared, it's there. But when Bhaktivinode Thakur was there, we know really he was posted in Puri in different places. Right? That Tarakeshwar also, he had some vision there. Srila Acharya Maharaj established one mat there. But he is wanting to be transferred to Krishna Nagar. Right? And those who know, Madhusudan Maharaj drove Srila Gurudev there many times. And make the turn, toward Nabadwip, and Shantipur nearby. And there was what they call the narrow gauge train. Remember, we were always cautioned when we first went in there, never get on a narrow gauge train, because the tracks are like this big, and that means it's going to take forever. It goes around, what would you say, 10 kilometers per hour tops. It just sort of moseys along, But if you want to see the Dham outside your window, we used to take that train, and remember that Bhaktivinode Thakur took that train so many times. And we find, and his autobiography and elsewhere, that he was actually very ill toward this period of his life. And he felt that he had the inspiration to go there, but he thought he may not survive. As when we presented Golden Volcano of Divine Love to Srila Guru Maharaj, and he expressed his desire to, if we could get the seva of the Gangbir in Jagannath Puri, that he would go there. So he sent me there with another devotee. Siddhanti Maharaj had sent some message about the seva becoming available, so we tried to get that. I gave the Golden Volcano to the Pujari. They're not accustomed to accept things from us, but they got some inspiration, and they put the book where Mahaprabhu sits. And you can see the Golden Volcano of Divine Love is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Somehow they got the inspiration, put it, and you could see when it was sitting there, it was very beautiful, which Guru Maharaj later told me that was his favorite book of the ones that we had the good fortune to publish. But anyway, when Guru Maharaj was, just before he sent me, and said, and if you can get that place, I will go there for the inauguration. And he saw this look on my face, what do you say, consternation, apprehension. Guru Maharaj at that time was not that balcony we talk about, his veranda, where we would all give obeisances on the way out to the Parikrama. He's coming down 3 times a year. Saraswati Thakur's appearance day, Gaur Purnima, and his Vyas Puja, and Radhastami, say 4 times or so a year. And he's saying, I will go there. And he saw the look on my face and read it perfectly. And he said, and if I die on the way, at least I will have died going in the right direction. So Bhaktivinode Thakur expressed, and he said, and on the way, I'm going to Krishna Nagar, and if I die on the way, at least I will have died going in the right direction. So we take it for granted. Oh no, he went there and all the, yes, but there was a period. It's not, it's, how do you say, it's living and dynamic. He doesn't know for certain the outcome. It's like a yoga Mayic plane. So he's, we think, no, of course he will make it. No, he doesn't know that. So he's very sick, he's risking his life and gets transferred and goes there to Krishna Nagar. And he knows that the British are very expert at, what do you say, topography, but bureaucracy, keeping records and topographical records. And I try to remember the name. Guru Maharaj told the name of, and so whenever there's a transfer of property, or they have a lease, and it's it tells you what the boundaries are of the property, like in the modern world, but they had it then. And so Bhaktivinode Thakur is searching. Remember, he had this vision in Tarakeshwar. He's searching through these maps, and and leases on property ownership, and he sees this one, and it says Myapur. Right? Remember, it's British, so they wrote Myapur. Myapur. That's the place I shall visit. And when he goes there, he finds that it's a Muslim area, and the local Muslim farmers, they say, oh, yeah, there's this one piece of land, it's useless for cultivation. Can't grow anything. Oh, there's one thing that grows there, and only one thing, tulsi. So, and that's the place where Bhaktivinode Thakur goes and falls and realizes this, in fact, is the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And how the humility of Bhaktivinode Thakur, like Guru Maharaj says, and advising us, to never be overly confident in your own estimation of things, to always seek the counsel of superior devotees, superior reliable servitors, etc. To never be overly confident in your own evaluation, assessment of any situation. Sanatana Goswami, who's the leader of the Goswamis, asking Jagadananda Pandit, what should you're close to Mahaprabhu, do you think I should do this or that? And Jagadananda advised him, but Mahaprabhu was upset. He's saying, that boy dared instruct Sanatana Goswami? That's another thing, but just think of the humility of Sanatana Goswami to like that thing. Oh, you're with Mahaprabhu, so you please tell me, Prabhu, do you think I should do this? And he's the most superior. So Bhaktivinode Thakur, we're giving Jai to Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Vaishnava Sarvabhauma, the leader and most elder and respectable Vaishnava of the day, lived 125 years. Bhaktivinode Thakur knows Jagannath Das Babaji very well. He wrote about him in his Kalyana Kalpataru, on one Ekadashi. They spent their, Bhaktivinode Thakur and some devotees, but Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, they were engaged in this kirtan, and he started showing pramic, ecstatic symptoms. So they're having the kirtan doing it, and then Bhaktivinode Thakur says, and then by Babaji Maharaj's mercy, he transferred all the ecstasy to us, those who were participating in the kirtan. And then they could not play the kartals, play the drum. Their voices were like the whole thing just turned into an ecstatic movement. He said, by the mercy of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So because of his seniority, And the most respectable Vaishnava of the day, the leader of the day, Bhaktivinode Thakur is deferring to him to verify, is this in fact the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And we know Jagannath Das Babaji, he is brought in a this palki type of wicker basket that you can carry a person. They used to use them to go up to Badrinath. So he's, as we see in the picture at this time, hunched over, always deeply absorbed in Krishna Nam, has one attendant, and bring him there. And what do we know? Jagannath Das Babaji jumps out of the basket and starts leaping like a meter off the ground in ecstasy, chanting, Jai Sachinandan Nitai Gaur Gaurahari. Right? Yes, this is in fact the birthplace of Nimai Pandit, Jai Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. So, and we'll come to that place of Bhaktivinode Thakur later, but Grantadam, Gauradam, I said Gauradam, he revealed. No. So this Nabadwip Dham Mahatmyam, with a map, right? I think he said Carter's. Anyway, it has a map, and Bhaktivinode Thakur is telling everyone, and the map is reliable, it's made by these British, they're very good at the, but he's showing within that the spiritual cartography of the Dham, revealing all the different places and what their locations are, and their histories, which, as Maharaj knows, sometimes 10 million years ago, this happened here, and from Ram Leela and different pastimes, the avatars, their devotees come at different times to Nabadwip Dham and sensing what it will be in the future. They may have come thousands, even millions of years ago, but they like that radiation that is there basically forever. They have the capacity to appreciate that. So just this part I wanted to read, there we are. This part I wanted to read. It says, raising his arms, Nityananda calls, "O souls, give up the misery of exploitation and renunciation and come with me. You are searching for happiness. I will give that to you, and I will not take anything from you in return. You will not undergo any trouble, loss, or pain. Simply chant Sri Gauranga and dance without care. The happiness I will give you is unparalleled. It is pure, eternal joy, free from all illusion." In this way, Nityananda Prabhu begs everyone to accept divine love, but the unfortunate, as a result of their sins, do not want it. The unlimited sins of anyone who once chants Gauranga Nitai are destroyed. Everyone, please listen to another confidential subject. The wealth of Sri Gaur's pastimes is most appropriate for the souls of the Kali Yuga. Through the scriptures, the souls understood the nature of pastimes in Braja and the greatness of Braja and Radha Krishna's eternal pastimes there. Through the scriptures, the whole world understood the unlimited glories of Krishna's name and Krishna's abode. Still, in general, souls did not attain love for Krishna. What is the reason for this? Consider it within your heart. In this regard, there is a highly confidential subject that souls bewildered by Maya do not consider. When souls serve Krishna for many births, but do not develop divine love, they certainly have made offenses. When souls free from offenses chant the name of Krishna, they quickly attain divine love for Krishna. The special characteristic of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes is that souls attain the wealth of divine love even while they commit offenses. Pure divine love for Krishna searches for souls who call out, Nitai Chaitanya. Like what is Bhaktivinode Thakur song? Nitai Chaitanya bole Natsreyamar man, Natsreyamar man, Natsreyamar man, Natsreyamar man, bole Natsreyamar man, Dal Nitai Chaitanya bole Natsreyamar man. Pure divine love for Krishna searches, divine love searches for souls who call out Nitai Chaitanya. So Bhaktivinode Thakur writes a song that starts with Nitai Chaitanya. He's already captured everyone in the opening line. Offenses do not obstruct such souls, and their eyes cry with pure love of Krishna. Within a short time, offenses leave on their own. The soul's hearts become purified, and divine love develops with them. The offenses of the souls in Kali Yuga are unlimited and unavoidable. There is no deliverance for the soul without the name of Gaur. Gaur Nam. So we're always talking about Krishnam, Gaur Nam. Krishna Prem, Gaur Prem. Gaur Nama Binatar Nahika Udar. Kali Jiver Aparadha Asankhya Durbar. Thus, in Kali Yuga, I do not see any way without Gaur, and the scriptures proclaim this. Gaura Chandra appeared in Nabadwip, the crown atop all the holy places. In other holy places, offenders are punished, but in Nabadwip, offenses are always forgiven. So, and where did Guru Maharaj establish Sri Chaitanya Saraswat? We say Sri Gupta Govardhan, but also the Aparadh Bhajanera pot. This means that place where all the offenders are forgiven their offenses. So how perfectly and precisely, that's the place that Guru Maharaj selected. And when we started promoting Srila Guru Maharaj, and people from the Western world started coming, and some propaganda appeared from the opposition. They said, anyway, nothing to see here, nothing to worry about, only the offenders are going there. So, you know, someone very intelligent came in. So don't worry, it's only offenders who are going there. Taking shelter of Srila Guru Maharaj at Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Maharaj. So this came to the ear of Srila Guru Maharaj. And he laughed and he smiled. He said, yes, all the offenders will come to the Aparadh Bhajanera pot. And soon Mahaprabhu will forgive all of their offenses and Krishna will give them everything. Which is the perfect answer to that. Just to read a little more. The brothers Jagai and Madhai are evidence of this. They committed offenses, but attained Nitai Chaitanya. Brother, let alone other holy places. Offenders and demons are punished even in Braja. In Navadvip, souls who commit hundreds and hundreds of offenses are easily delivered by the mercy of Nitai. The sages say that the land of Sri Nabadwip Dham is Sri Gauda Mandal, is most glorious. Brothers, souls who reside in Navadvip are very fortunate. They attain devotion to Krishna. Souls who once visit Navadvip are freed from all offenses. The scriptures say that by remembering Navadvip, you attain that which pilgrims attain by visiting all the other holy places. Souls who see Navadvip attain the wealth of divine love for Krishna, birth after birth. Even souls who go to Navadvip with a materialistic motive do not take human birth again. All the scriptures say that while walking through Navadvip, such souls attain the result of 10 million ashvamedas with each step. Those who reside in Navadvip and chant their mantra, that holy mantra comes alive and easily delivers them. That which yogis attain after 10 years in other holy places is attained in Navadvip in 3 nights. The liberation attained through knowledge of Brahma and other holy places, attained in Navadvip simply by bathing in the Ganga. In Navadvip, even without knowledge of Brahma, seekers of liberation can attain residence in the Lord's abode, a form like the Lord's, opulence like the Lord's, association with the Lord, and absorption into the Lord. Enjoyment and liberation personified bow at the feet of the pure devotees in Navadvip, and always wait upon them as maidservants. Although devotees kick them and drive them away, these maidservants do not leave the feet of the devotees or run away. Brother, by spending 1 night in Navadvip, souls attain that which is gained by residing in the 7 principal holy places for 100 years. Thus, Nabadwip Dham is the Heno Nabadwip Dham Sarvadam Sar. Sarvadam Sar. Kalite Ashray Kori Jiva Hoy Par. Thus, Nabadwip Dham is the best of all abodes. Souls who take shelter here in Kali Yuga are delivered. So, Srila Guru Maharaj, when he, in the aftermath of Sri Gaudiya Math, and he's wondering where to spend his final time, he, by his heart's natural inclination, was in Vrindavan, Udhava Kyari, where the Brahma Gita is spoken, Radharani's divine madness, when Udhava, called Udhava Darshane, this behind closed doors, Mahaprabhu with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda, they're mining this day and night. The so-called Udhava Darshan means when Udhava delivers Krishna's letter, and Radharani exhibits 10 different types of divine madness in the presence of the bumblebee, the Brahma Gita. That Guru Maharaj selected. But and at this time, but he's also collecting the slokas for Prapana Jivanamritam. He's in a deep dive study of Sharanagati, of surrender. So he's collecting the slokas. It's Kartik Mas, the month of Radharani and Vrindavan. And then Guru Maharaj's humility thinks Vrindavan is for the highest section of liberated souls. So thinking himself in the non-liberated section, humbly. So this would, the inspiration wasn't there. So he travels toward the east, and Puri, again, you see thematically, Brahma, what is it? Behind closed doors and the Gangbir, and what I just told previously, still think not appropriate. Then he thinks, but we've been told, as we hear in Nabadwip Dham Mahatmyam, that Nabadwip, that is for the non-liberated, that we will be safe in Nabadwip, and everything will be achieved in Nabadwip. So he's saying, then to Nabadwip I shall go. And Nityananda Prabhu is the Dhameshwar, the visa-granting officer. So to enter Navadvip, where does Guru Maharaj go? Ekachakra, Birachandrapur, falling in the house of Nitai Bari, Shastanga Dandavats before Dhameshwar Nitai, Nityananda. He's saying, oh, please give me, you are Patita Pavana, please give me shelter in Navadvip, give me entrance. And the inspiration came in the heart of Guru Maharaj from Nityananda Prabhu. But you do not give Patita shelter, because Guru Maharaj was hesitating to initiate anyone, even though he's being approached by the likes of Srila Prabhupada's sister and others. So then that and other, coupled with other reasons, he thought, all right, then I will modestly establish a mat. I won't aggressively count money men, etc., but modestly establish a place, because that is what is expected by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and that way I'll proceed. So where does he go in Nabadwip? The Aparadh Bhajanera pot, the place where all the Aparadhis are forgiven their offenses. And there in Sri Gupta Govardhan, he establishes Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. With Srila Guru Maharaj, he's always the well-wisher of his god brothers, and they always are approaching him for how they should conduct their lives, their devotional lives. And Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, although he's a senior disciple of Srila Saraswati Thakur, and Nityananda Bangsha, in addition to other things. That's why he was called Aprakrita Prabhu, because you may take that to be Prakrita, Monday, but Saraswati Thakur, no, he's Aprakrita, like he's really that. And so Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj indicates to him that you can establish a mat where Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu meet, Nimai Pandit, and Nanda, Nandanacharya, Nandan Bhavan. So there we go, Nandanacharya Bhavan. Bengali, Bangla. And we know that's the place where, as inconceivable it is, because we think, why aren't Nitai and Nimai together from the very beginning? It's actually Nimai and Vishwarup. When Vishwarup leaves the world, we're told he's absorbed into Nityananda, the elder brother of Mahaprabhu. But Nityananda Prabhu is in Ekachakra, Birchandrapur, and has his childhood pastimes there. We're told the bhikkhu, beggar, sannyasi, gets him from Harai Pandit and Padmavati, heartbreaking. Separation ensues as he goes on tour of the holy places. Harai Pandit crying a pond of tears and unmoving for 3 months, somehow remaining alive. And Nityananda Prabhu going to all the holy places. But when he comes to Vrindavan, he says that all the deity, they're either under wraps or not there. And he's saying, where is Krishna? I'm in Vrindavan. First, he finds the places of their childhood pastimes. He's rolling in the sand and remembrance and like a child. But he's saying, but I can't find Krishna anywhere in any temple in Vrindavan. Where is he? And they say, oh, haven't you heard? Krishna has appeared in Nabadwip. So he makes his way toward Nabadwip, and we're told Mahaprabhu has this vision that he's coming on a chariot, madly approaching this Mahajan. He doesn't tell everyone exactly who it is. There's one Mahajan, the Mahajan of the Mahajans Mahajan is coming, sends Haridas Thakur and Srivas Thakur to find this great personality. And it's mentioned by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Of course they could find him, but it's again a yoga-mayic pastime that for some reason they're unable to find him. Why? What is the significance? They come back to Nimai Pandit empty-handed, and he's smiling. And he's saying, I will show him to you. And so Vrindavan Das Thakur makes the point there that Gaur, he reveals Nityananda, and Nityananda Gaur. Only by the mercy of Gaur really can you appreciate Nityananda. So he gathers all his devotees, and because he knows that Nityananda is staying at this Nanda Bhavan. Hare Krishna. And they meet there, And Balaram, Nityananda Ram, Balaram is Nityananda, seeing the unparalleled beauty of Nimai Pandit, Srupam Bibranu Jagatatulyam Advaita Dvaita. Right? The Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham, the 10 million fold, Cupid to the 10 millionth power magnitude of beauty of Krishna, combined with the beauty of Srimati Radharani in one, and Shama Sundar Krishna has become Gauranga Sundar. Nityananda Prabhu is in ecstatic disbelief at the beauty of Gauranga, and you're told all of his senses, he's having the total sensual experience of his tongue. It's as if he's licking the beauty. His eyes are drinking the beauty. All of his senses are taking in the beauty of Gauranga. And at that time, Mahaprabhu, who is it? Perhaps Srivas Thakur, he tells him to sing one verse. Barha pidam natabara bapu karneo karnikaram bibrad basa kanaka kapisam bhai jayantim chamalam randran benu dhaya sudhaya purayam gopa vrinde brindaranyam swapada ramanam pravisad gita kirti. Is describing it's Gopi vision, how the gopis are seeing Krishna and Balaram. It's from their perspective, from their place, how they're seeing Krishna and Balaram surrounded by the cowherd boys, singing and dancing and playing on their flute and entering the Vrindavan forest on what you could say is a typical day in Vrindavan, if there are typical days in the infinite. Right? So, Barha Pidam, that he's wearing the peacock feather, Natabara, he looks like a movie star, Natabara, Barha Pidam, Natabara, Bapu, Karneo, Karneka. His ears are decorated with flowers. He's wearing a Vaijayanti mala, garland, and Krishna's playing his flute. The nectar from the lips of Krishna are entering the flute and then showering a nectarine sound shower in the environment. And then he said, Brindaranyam swapada ramanam. And the earth is shivering in conjugal ecstasy at the touch of the lotus feet of Krishna. And he said, Pravishad Gita Kirti, as they're singing and dancing and entering the forest of Vrindavan. And with that, Nitai becomes so ecstatic that he faints. We're told as Lakshman was shot by an arrow and he entered a fainted position, we're told here, Nitai is shot with the arrow of Krishna Prem, and that puts him in an unconscious position. And he awakens in the lap of Gauranga, of Nimai Pandit. And Gadadhar Pandit is smiling and saying, oh, look, normally we're talking about Ananta Shesha and Sheshai. Normally he's the bed. As Guru Maharaj would say, who is he? The infinite sleeps on a bed of infinite. He's that kind of infinite. He's infinite and he sleeps on a bed of infinite. Ananta Shesh. So normally he's the bed. And he's saying, but here, the lap of Nimai Pandit has become the bed, and there's Nityananda lying in the lap of Nimai Pandit and Gadadhar Pandit, sweetly smiling at this reversal of positions. Because normally the Lord is defeated by devotion. Every now and then he wins. So here, but we could say, to keep consistent with that he's also in the mood of devotee. Right? So that sweet pastime takes place there at Nandan, the Acharya, his Bhavan, his home, and that's on the road to as we approach Sri Dham Mayapur. Maharaj would like to say the next stop can be...
The next stop, normally we go to ISKCON,
yes,
Prabhupada, but just to give a little bit more push to that direction. Bhaktivinode Thakur and his divine vision, spoken Jaiva Dharma, really he took characters that he'd been connected with, Jagannth Das Babaji Maharaj, Gorkshore Das Babaji Maharaj, renamed them as an author, but fully put on their lips essential spiritual truth. And the beginning of entering Nabadwip Dham by Sannyasi Thakur is introducing us with Prem Das Babaji Maharaj, who's hiddenly giving thousands of dandavats to anybody who enter Nabadwip Dham. And as Sannyasi Thakur approaching to Nabadwip, at certain point, his revelation, he see the divine Dham of Nabadwip. And that is not something that we see with our own eyes. It's rather something that Bhaktivinode Thakur saw as a beautiful temple of golden Gauranga, his birthplace, and the divine city of devotees and gods and goddesses coming there to worship. So then we can understand such tattva as Guru tattva, Dham tattva, and Jiva tattva are not only connected, it's also mysterious, because Nityananda Prabhu, he is the Guru tattva, but he's also expanding himself into everything, including the Dham. So Bhaktivinode Thakur giving very unique way to understand what the Dham is. So now that we are really look at the Dham, then as Maharaj said, Nanda Acharya Bhavan, how does that Mahaprabhu start revealing the glory of Navadvip? By meeting with Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu overwhelmed, as it says in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that he say like, hoi, hoi, hoi. He's breathing deeply and he's speaking some ecstatic sounds because he does not know how this beautiful Krishna will look like by editing some amazing gunas of Radharani. It's not just Krishna he's seeing, his brother. It's Krishna taken the heart and shell of Radharani, and that's even excited to Nityananda Prabhu to see the beauty of Radharani, but it is Krishna Varnam to Sham Krishnam. Same Krishna, but the Varnam is different because it's a golden complexion. Then we would say, we're going to, ISKCON normally at that time, and the next stop would be Yogapith. Well, and again, if Prabhupada wouldn't come to this world and would not establish what we understand as Krishna consciousness, we wouldn't be able to connect with that. I spoke a few days back with some of the devotees that are helping us, and they said they recently had a Mayapur meeting, and they're expecting 9 million devotees in the next 20 years. 9 million devotees. So, at the time
and understand, when it started, Hare Krishna, Jai, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, World Headquarters, ISKCON Mayapur, Chandradoya Mandir Ki Jai. Just saying, it was rice fields.
Right.
Hold that picture. It was just rice fields. That's what you saw. And Prabhupada used to walk, but you could go to the Ganga, it was around half a kilometer away, and he would say that he liked it that way. And sometimes there would be tents or little, the
pandals.
Or thatched hut. And he's very content to live that way. He said, and I could. He said, but then no one will come here. He said, so we must make a big guest house. And he said, and have air-conditioned bus from Calcutta and and then people will come. He said, but if I just sit here in a hut in a rice field with the same substance, no one's going to come. That's what Saraswati Thakur realized too, after he inherited the seva of the Yogapith in Mayapur, where we will go, that he needed to go to the big city to spread the message to the intelligentsia and then bring him to these divine places. But continue.
Yeah, what Maharaj said makes a lot of sense, because when Maharaj came there with certain enthusiasm of foreign devotees, you would see Prabhupada with his stick measuring lands and saying, here will be the temple, here will be the thing, here will be the, and you know, some other people could almost say, it's crazy. How is that possible? And you know, one of the speech which I had in Acharya Maharaj's time, Gaur Purnima, I've said, if you really look at the Indian history, it's very dramatic. The Muslims came to invade, the British came to invade, everybody else came to invade, take and exploit and explore, and the only devotees are coming here to do their seva. So, you know, we would have be very clear that this place is the seva bhumi, and that's why it's so fortunate, because the seva in Vrindavan is meant for liberated soul, but this place is Mayapur for some reason, being a holy dham, and basically, you know, it says in the scripture, it's known different than Vrindavan, but as we say in Thailand, same, but different, which means there's only one guna, quality, is added, is inconceivable mercy. So it's the same as Vrindavan.
Audarja.
Right, Audarya Lila, and that's opening doors for us. So then we would say, what would be our position there? Mahaprabhu said to Jagannatha Pandit, don't stay a long time in Vrindavan, do not imitate Brijbasis, don't claim Govardhan Hill. And here we are, we found shelter in Gupta Govardhan, which is, you cannot claim, you cannot possibly make an offense. You know it's there, but you can't do things that you can do in Vrindavan, because it says, during the Parikrama of Vrindavan, if you perform undesirable things, the reaction will come 1,000 times. If you perform pure spiritual activities, reaction also be thousands of times. But it is says, in, you know, although you can have some offenses in Nabadwip Dham, but the Nabadwip Dham Parikrama, it's giving outstanding results to one who is coming and chanting names of Gauranga, Jai Sachinanda, and being observed in those holy places. I mean, there's so many ways to describe, you know, Prabhupada Samadhi and new temple, which is gigantic, and expectation of 9 million people living there. But one thing I can tell you is quite interesting. So we recently thought, well, we want to establish some base in Nabadwip, and should we come back to the Mat, or should we try elsewhere? And we started searching, and people told us, there is people in Nabadwip, Mayapur right now listening to Theistic Media Center, because I met some of them and they said, are you connected with Goswami Maharaj? I said, well, you know, on some level, you know, and so
Infinity Media.
Give my dandavat pranam to him. So it's one thing. Another thing is like,
this is an opportunity. Some praise for the Infinity Media team, led by Devendra and Jamuna, Priyanana, and others, that they make this all possible, that there's
and like I said to Goswami Maharaj, I also met people in America who said, I'm listening to this people from Thailand. I said, wow, very good. And you know, so that means those who Sumedas are fortunate souls, they're searching and aspiring for the connection. And then somebody told us, Maharaj, there is no Chaytanya Saraswat Mat here. I said, what do you mean? And they told me, there is no Chaytanya Saraswat Mat here. I said, we are across the street. They said, no, you don't understand. This is the place where thousands of devotees, Russian, Chinese, Americans, they're living. They want you to be here. And then I thought, well, maybe Acharya Maharaj didn't have a bad idea to have something there.
Sure.
And I said, well, at least if we'll be somewhere in a close, you know, walking or rickshaw distance. And then I started exploring Mayapur, and you know, and they showed me things. Like they took me to a place which developed by a Ukrainian devotee who's there for 20 years, and he built like Muban, a Thai level Muban, not Indian level Muban, Thai level with bougainvillea and you know the white flower trees and beautiful air conditioner rooms.
Euro standard.
And he took me into, and there are Israeli devotees that connect with us, and they took me to plant where they're experimenting to grow strawberries indoor. And they explained me why Indian strawberries are not tasty, how much protein you need to develop by adding particular. And I was like, hey, I never thought I can be in the middle of Bengal. We all know what it is. And here I am in, agricultural lab, seeing devotees from all over the world are doing publishing, doing projects, working globally. And I said, that's not something we would expect from middle of nowhere, because one of our challenge was like, we can't even run computers there. It's all getting moldy, dusty, and things that, you can't have it. But actually, you see Western devotees coming there with their skills, they're developing something, but what they're really liking is Mahaprabhu. And that's where I thought, if we can take this talent and we can take the skills.
And also I'd like to say this, that I think it's the world headquarters of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Right? So, and we used to even think sometimes like, International Society for Krishna, shouldn't the world headquarters be in Vrindavan? I mean, you're saying Krishna Consciousness, Hare Krishna, No, Prabhupada very perfectly said, no, the world headquarters is in Mayapur, because as Guru Maharaj like to say, because really the expression Krishna consciousness comes from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He coined that phrase, and we all use it, and Guru Maharaj liked it very much. And Guru Maharaj would say this too, because he interprets everything. He said, Krishna consciousness means Krishna Chaytanya, Krishna Chaitanya. That's how you say Krishna consciousness in Sanskrit, Krishna Chaitanya. So he said he liked that very much. So Krishna consciousness is Mahaprabhu's gift to the world. So naturally, the world headquarters should be there. And we would be remiss if we did not say that, so at the inauguration of the world headquarters of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and the deities will be installed. And who are the deities? Mahaprabhu and Radha Madhava. These are like Saraswati Thakur. Mahaprabhu, as you see here, Mahaprabhu Govinda Sundar, Radha Govinda Sundar. Mahaprabhu and Radha Madhava, these three deities. And so, who shall be the guest of honor at the inauguration of where there's going to end up being 9 million people, as you say? Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, who is impossible to conceive of without Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. So Prabhupada invites Guru Maharaj there for the inauguration. And it said, we'll get to that in a moment, but when the devotees asked Prabhupada, like, what do we do for the installation of the deities? And he said, Sridhar Maharaj has arrived, the deities are installed. Think about that. And because Guru Maharaj once, I have to say, Saraswati Thakur, at the time of installation, he would do the last part, which is put Tulsi at the lotus feet of Krishna, and the installation would be complete. And then one time, it was high, the altar, and Guru Maharaj thought, oh, it'll be difficult for Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur. So Guru Maharaj did it. Then Saraswati Thakur comes and he's telling everyone, he said, Krishna installed himself. He was like telling everyone, and then Guru Maharaj saying, oh, like I have to tell, Guru Maharaj thought that he'd committed an offense. And he wrote to Saraswati Thakur, and Saraswati Thakur wrote something very beautiful that may be helpful to all of us. He said, there are no offenses for a surrendered soul. Right? We're talking tonight so much about offenses. But anyway, so Gurudev brings Guru Maharaj there, and we know, and that famous picture, Madhusudan Maharaj gave the caption, Holy Trinity. And you see, the only time, Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, on the same Vyasa, sharing his Vyasa-san with Srila Guru Maharaj. This has never been done. This isn't something he ever did with anybody else at any other time. All right, understand the significance of it. They're sharing a Vyasasan. And you see in front of them, Srila Govinda Maharaj at the microphone. And you hear Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada talk back and forth about how they met each other, and very beautiful, and mutual praise for one another. And of course, and Guru Maharaj was told he's not feeling 100%, but Srila Gurudev, he's not expecting to speak. But, and Krishna's Babaji Maharaj is there too. But then they asked Gurudev to speak. Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, they both want to hear him speak. And so remember, he didn't prepare. He's not thinking he's going to speak. So what comes from his heart? The sloka of Raghupati Upadhyay, who when Mahaprabhu asked him, you know all the scriptures, you know, extract the essence from them. You know, and he does it in 3 slokas. The first one, Shrutim apare smritim atare bharatam anye bhavabhita ahangi ha nandam bande yasyalande param brahma. There's the Shruti, the Smriti, the Mahabharata. They're all trying to bring you in connection with the Param Brahma. He said, but the Param Brahma is crawling in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. I'm interested, what did he do? You know, they're all trying to take you toward the Param Brahma. He's got the Param Brahma crawling in his courtyard. And we hear in the Bhagavatam that you know, Yashodaba Mahabhaga Papo Yasya Stanam Hari. Is anyone more had greater fortune than Nanda Maharaj? Yashoda. That he crawls through that courtyard and then onto the lap of Yashoda and is sucking her breast milk. These are substantial devotees. They're saying, this is inconceivable, it's unthinkable thing. In one sloka, Raghupati Upadhyaya takes you to Vatsalya Rasa, from the Vedas, Puranas, etc. In one verse, he takes you into Vatsalya Rasa. Right? He's going to go further, but that's where you land, in Vatsalya Rasa, perfectly. And so Mahaprabhu is very excited, like anything more. You know, he said, that's when he says, Kam prati katayitam, he says, samprati pati ayatu, gopati tanaya kunje, gopa viduti bitam brahma. He's saying, more? Is there more? There's more, but is there anyone I could tell this to? Would anybody believe it? There's more, but would anyone believe me if I told you what the rest is? And is there anyone qualified to hear that? Right? It says, you know, Gopa, that Param Brahma crawling in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj and then on the lap of, you know, well, when he grows, he has pastimes with the cowherd boys. When he's a teenager, he's hunting the Braja Gopi girls in the Kunja of Vrindavan. So that's what the Param Brahma is. Those are his pastimes. Is there anyone I could tell who will believe that? Is there anyone qualified to hear this? And Guru Maharaj, he wrote in a Gaudiya Math article that what's indicated here, he's saying this to Mahaprabhu, and what it meaning, after your appearance, you'll qualify everyone to hear it, and everyone will believe it, that this is their ultimate prospect, that a life of love with Krishna under the guidance of his beloved and her associates and friends and the holy land of Vrindavan. But so that's the verse that comes from the heart of Srila Gurudev, but he applies it so expertly in the present context. The Acharya, he can extract the inner meaning and make it relevant. Not that, oh, it's some esoteric, no, relevant to the present. So there's it's the inauguration. There's Srila Swami Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj, you see, there's Srila Gurudev, and he says, this verse, he says, is there anyone who will believe me? Is there anyone I can tell this to? That who I knew as, you know, Abhay Babu, Abhay Charanaravinda. We were at number 6, Sitakant Banerjee Lane. He was teaching me Bhagavad Gita, sending me out to sell his Back to Godhead magazine. You know, we're eating breakfast together. He's eating his puris and sabji. I'm eating my muri. He's saying, Gorindu Brahmachari, take some sabji and some puris. You know, muri, that is simply cheating the stomach. You know, this type of jocular, loving, affectionate exchange. And he's saying, is there anyone who believes me that that person who loves me like his own son, who reveres my Guru Maharaj as his Shiksha Guru, that he's the one who fulfilled the prophecy of Bhaktivinode Thakur, that Krishna consciousness will spread all over the world, the prophecy of Mahaprabhu, you know, Prithivite Ache Jatanagaradi Gram, Sarvatra Prachar, Hoibe Mornam. My name will be chanted in every town and village in the world. Nitai Chaytanya, Goranam. Right? So when he started with the verse, Guru Maharaj said that Krishna's Babaji Maharaj went, Hare Krishna! He jumped up with excitement. And he said, why? He said, because he knew he was had conquered the crowd. So when Srila Prabhupada heard this glorification from Srila Govinda Maharaj, and he's very happy to hear that. And he said, what Govinda Maharaj says is true. I love him like an affectionate son, and I consider his Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, to be my Shiksha Guru. That's a divine pastime. It's a divine pastime. It's Leela that took place at that time for those who have the eyes to see. And Maharaj is talking about the Dham. Those who have the eyes to see. In this Nabadwip Dham, one thing I read today that is shocking, he says, if someone does penances and austerities for millions of lifetimes to have darshan of the Lord, they will get it. He said, but they won't get any, if they have no devotion, they won't experience any happiness. They'll be right in front. And that's again where he said, what use is a mirror for a blind man? You know, like that. So he's saying, you could do austerities and penances, and you know all the scriptures and Shastra for millions of lifetimes. He's saying, then you'll get that, you'll be in front of the Lord, and you won't recognize who he is, and you won't experience any happiness if you do not have devotion. Right? So that Mahaprabhu, why did I say that? There was a reason. Oh, so Srila Prabhupada, and at the Mahaprakash, where Mahaprabhu, remember, before he's fully blown Radha Bhav, sometimes he is showing his divinity, right? More Varaha avatar at the house of Mari Gupta, and this Mahaprakash for how many hours? 21 or so hours, where he is in this divine state, and he's granting the boons of all the devotees. And he says to Mukunda that you are my singer. Right? Just saying that. That means he's the greatest singer of all time. Right? If we, you know, Sri Gandharva, Radharani, Lalita Vishankar. So Mukunda and Mahaprabhu is saying, you are my singer. You're the greatest singer of all time. And he's saying, and what have I done? Prema Bhakti. I have infused Prema Bhakti in your voice. So when anyone hears your kirtan, they will get Krishna Prem. Their hearts will melt and they will get Krishna Prem. I feel it, and all the devotees will feel it too, because I've infused Prema Bhakti into your voice. So Srila Prabhupada, he, you could say, had that type of Krishna Premic voice. If you hear his kirtans, his talks, it's in, and he himself describes in one purport in the Bhagavatam, he says, the voice of the pure devotee is saturated with the saffron mercy particles that are adorning the lotus feet of the Lord. Just by hearing his voice and appreciating that, this mercy transformation toward your heart is taking place. So when you hear this, how do you say, or for those, that's what I wanted to say about those who have the eyes to see were there. Just think, this pastime took place there in, I believe, 1972 or so. And so many were there at different nights who had the capacity to see and observe and appreciate what was taking place between Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev. So by their grace, they've extended some level of appreciation to us, right? That we can celebrate that pastime. So whenever we go on our way to Mayapur, we stop there and we recall these pastimes. Hare Krishna.
It's also described in Mahabharata commentaries about different devotees of the Lord that have different functions, such as Sakti Avesha Avatar.
Yes.
An example giving is Arjuna, because he fought, he became, a chosen one to deliver the battlefield, not Yudhishthira or others, right, although they were fighting, but he's the one who hasn't slept for 18 days. He's the one who, defeat all the enemies, and really Krishna being directly and indirectly in his heart and ruling him. But it also says that particular power giving to devotee at a certain point to show that this was some divine power, it's withdrawing. So we know in Arjuna case, it's been withdrawn through him at a certain point where he's supposed to be defeating the inhabitants of Dwaraka from the Gundas, the Nishadas, low-level robbers. But Guru Maharaj is specified about Guru Maharaj, not also he got that power of Shakti Avesha Avatar.
Prabhupada.
Yes, that is directly the power of Guru Tattva,
Nityananda.
So we can understand that,
because Swami Maharaj, his family line, they're favored by Nityananda Prabhu, the Suvananik, right? The gold merchants and this family that came down that we're told Nityananda Prabhu likes them very much. It's one consideration.
So it says in scripture, without Guru Dakshina or pleasing the Guru or mercy of the Guru, spiritual vision cannot be complete. And there's so many stories, examples of Ekalavya giving Guru Dakshina to Drona as his finger, and other great sages giving appreciation of their Guru. And therefore, the exchange should be complete. Otherwise, if you just receive things from Guru and not offering yourself for the divine service, that's not a complete transaction, which means it's not fair. So we can look at the Mayapur as not just mercy of Srila Prabhupada as a great self-giving, self-sacrifice of his great disciples. So going to Prabhupada's Samadhi, we are bowing down to Samadhis where like Sridhar Swami, Bhakti Charu, and many Tamal Krishna, many other Prabhupada disciples, as they're respectively in a particular garden near their Guru. And for soldier, it's the highest position to be remembered in that holy place of Nabadwip Dham, to be part of that spiritual revolution or that spiritual divine pastimes. So we will go there. It's not just we go to see the deity, and we normally see the Prabhupada, we glorified, and then Janardhan Maharaj or Goswami Maharaj speak there because they got the rights, to glorify Srila Prabhupada, as we all have to hear from them because there's some connection. And then as we're passing through the beautiful land of ISKCON, we're respecting all these great souls that are remembered and be part of that beautiful pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, because
entourage.
Because that's, like, it's just, when you deal with Jesus, you would say, who was the people that would be hanging out with Jesus or spreading the Jesus message? So Prabhupada is just like Jesus, coming in this world, and for some reason, as Maharaj said, inspiring some very fortunate souls to, with his voice, with his message, to drop everything and go. Just like Janardhan Maharaj told the story that how he dropped everything to went to Copenhagen. Goswami Maharaj told the story how he joined in his 16 and then travel to Eastern Europe, which you would say almost impossible to believe. But that's something, so when Gurudev glorified Prabhupada, it wasn't just, flattering and a word of honor, just because somebody invites you for his birthday and you have to be nice to him.
And like he would say, there were so many editions of Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
Like you could, hundreds actually. And I went in a major library in New York City one, just to look in the card catalog and count, like, when I got up to around 150, I went, all right, I get it. And here's the point. In every one of those Bhagavad Gitas, it will say, surrender to me, become my devotee, give up everything. And then, so in every single book, it says that. And no one decided to do that. Everyone read these different books, and not one person decided to do that. Then Prabhupada makes this book called Bhagavad Gita as It Is. People read the exact same words coming from him, and they decide to give up everything and become devotees of Krishna. They have this life-transforming event by coming in connection with him, because this whole thing, purity, what Maharaj is saying too about the dakshina to the Guru. Guru Maharaj quotes the verse saying, you cannot repay it. If you own the universe and say, I'm giving this universe, that doesn't repay the debt of what you've been given from Guru. And so Srila Prabhupada, he says, he's reading Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and particularly this verse, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana, which he translates as, what's required to be successful in Krishna consciousness? The resolute determination to do that. So, but he says, in reading Vishwanath's commentary on this sloka, he has an epiphany, and he realizes, the only reason I exist is to fulfill the order of my Guru. Right? Prabhupada can say that and live it. By saying, so the only purpose of my existence is to fulfill the order of Saraswati Thakur. What is that order? To take Krishna consciousness, particularly to the English-speaking countries. He said, we didn't, there's 26 2nd Avenue, the first temple. So, and the Lower East Side of New York City, Manhattan. So he said, we didn't go to Markina Lok, which is the Bengali way of saying America. So he decides to do that. We shouldn't think that like, Prabhupada started preaching in 1965. No, he's preaching since he was a child. He's preaching his whole life. Even when he's in Vrindavan and not showing great success, you can find materials they have in the BBT archives, invitations he sent, like there, we are cordially invited to the Janmashtami celebration at Sri Sri Radha Damodar on this particular day. He's always preaching and doing programs. But as Gomer says, Vilasatu Hridi Nityam Bhakti Siddhanta Vani. The Bhakti Siddhanta Vani, the words of Saraswati Thakur, they're playing upon his heart. He can never forget that. Even though he was told that in the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s. It's 30 years later, and that drum is still beating in his heart that he must do this, right? That he must sacrifice his entire life in pursuit of this divine order. That's why Gurudev wrote, Gur Vagyam Shirishi Darjam Shaktavesha Swarupine Hare Krishneti Mantrena Paschatya Prachyatarine. Taking it on his head, Gur Vagya, the order of his guru. Right? So then he's translating in Vrindavan, not only Bhagavatam, Gita, Charitamrita, the Narada Bhakti Sutras, many books, actually. And prints the Bhagavatams, secures passage to America, a 30 days in the ocean, and not on a cruise line, on a cargo ship, basically, that had a few cabins. And what happens there? And you think the Krishna, what is he? That substance that only comes out of the heart of the pramic devotee under the most adverse circumstances, and that Krishna is so addicted to, so he has to put them in the middle of the ocean, where that's where he has heart attacks. You can see no land anywhere. Because when he leaves, what does he say? Now I'm feeling separation from my worshipable lords, Radha Damodar, Radha Govinda, Radha Madan Mohan, starts naming the principal deities of Vrindavan. And he said, now he's out in the middle of I depend solely on their mercy. And what does he also say significantly? Daily I am relishing the nectarine of Chaytanya Leela, the source of my all vitality. At the end of Madhya Leela, Kaviraj Goswami says, if you're not nourished by Chaytanya Leela, you'll go down. That's what he says. He describes how wonderful it is, how accessible it is. And he says, and if after all of that, what is presented, if you don't nourish yourself with this divine substance, you'll be, prey to the whirlpool of unfortunate situations and the pitfall of false arguments. Anyway, there in the middle of the ocean, Prabhupada has these heart attacks. So then you think, like, what does Krishna want from him? What more? Right? Like sending the gopis back at the Rasa Leela, right? How many lifetimes to get to that position, and then telling them to go home, to press their hearts deeper, 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 till it produces this most incredible Krishna prema. So Srila Prabhupada, then what happens? He has this vision, a dream, that Krishna says, don't worry, Abhay. Remember his name, Abhay, fearless, worryless. So he says, don't worry, Abhay. I've taken over the boat. And we're told the captain's log, he says, there's no waves. The ocean looks like a pond. He said, in 40 years of being a captain, I've never seen anything like this. Suddenly the ocean is turned into a pond, there's no waves, and we're just going smoothly. And anyway, he reaches America, writes his poems, Prayer to the Lotus Feet of Krishna, and preaching Bhagavat Dharma in America, and establishes the Krishna consciousness movement, prints 100 million books, establishes over 100 temples, and the world headquarters in Sridham Mayapur, Krishna Balaram in Vrindavan, and gifts the Krishna consciousness movement to the world. And that's probably, he's looking at the 5th canto, and those are the pictures of how people are being tortured in hell. And he's laughing.
At the very end of my journey in America, I was doing a little documentary. I went to New York, and Kapindra Swami, who's our old friend, he passed this world.
Yeah.
He actually lived on 2nd Avenue.
Yeah.
He took sannyas here. lived sometime in Basram of Tompkins Square Park. And then he established a little place with the deity of Prabhupada. But he enforced the city of New York government to name a Prabhupada tree in Tompkins Square Park,
where he sat and did the first kirtan.
So I went there with my iPhone, iPad, and I said, here we are standing by the tree, auspicious tree, which is actually liberated.
Like
Kalpataru tree of Tompkins Square Park. And then I had to go around Tompkins Square Park to, make sure that I've got little shots to support the environment. And there were different type of people sitting. It was like COVID, I didn't say COVID, in the middle of COVID, where people had to wear a mask, and New York was like so much damaged. They said it's like the biggest damage in 100 years of New York economy, people. And I was there, and people were like sitting on the ground, on the green grass, and enjoying the, the weather. And then I saw one boy kissing another boy, and I thought, that's kind of a nice picture. I said, like, do you guys know anything about a Prabhupada tree? And they're like, no, we don't. So, I started hustling certain people, like, do you know, and, it was an amazing thing. One woman in her 70s, or maybe even like, she told me, yes, I know where Prabhupada tree is, right over there. And I said, have you seen Prabhupada? She said, yes, actually, I live here all my life. I've seen Prabhupada, I heard. And she gave like the whole amazing thing, but I realized one thing, I couldn't film that because it was like, I didn't press the button because I was just trolling people. And this older woman, she's, she's in her 70s. Close to 80, she gave, she looks like very alternative New Yorker with a black suit, with the white hair. But she gave that incredible speech about Prabhupada.
Yes, and just to conclude, and at that park was a conclusion of the 1976 Rath Yatra, and that, I believe in retrospect, that was Krishna's gift to Prabhupada. He signed as one prayer, the insignificant beggar, Bhaktivedanta Swami. And that's where he says, famously, he said, I do not know why you've brought me to this place that's overwhelmed by the modes of passion and ignorance. He said, but I think you must have some purpose. So if you have some purpose, then make me dance, O Lord, make me dance. Signed, the insignificant beggar, Bhaktivedanta. And we know in the other poem, it's from his, so he's writing about the external thing, and internally, prayer to the lotus feet of Krishna, he's almost apologetic and saying, I was feeling such deep separation that I cried out to you. And he said, I can't wait for those days when we'll be together playing in the Vrindavan forest and eating lunch together on the banks of the Jamuna. He says that. And then he says, so now remember, here's saying, you must have brought me here for a purpose. Now, what a strategy, right, to enlist the support. So he's saying to Krishna that my guru, who Saraswati Thakur, but ultimately Radharani's surrogate, ultimate guru, Srimati Radharani, has given me some service to do. What is that? Spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. I consider myself unfit to do that. But you're very qualified. Is Krishna. But you, Krishna, you have so much qualification. I'm very unqualified, aspiring servitor, but you're so qualified. And I know your heart, in your heart. And I'll tell you this, if you will help me do this service, Radharani has given me this service. If you will help me do the desired service, then you'll get her association. How can Krishna refuse that? Right? So he enlists Krishna, like Arjun gets Krishna for the Kurukshetra. So Prabhupada enlists Krishna and Guru Maharaj is more specifically identifying the Shaktivesh of Nityananda, because we can understand dealing with the most fallen souls, the Kripa avatar Nityananda. So anyway, so Prabhupada, that insignificant beggar, $10 or so in his pocket when he arrives in America, the Bhagavatams, coal and kartals, right? And this last year, it's around 1 year before his departure from the world, there's the Rath Yatra Festival in New York City. And he has his skyscraper building, 57th Street or whichever street it was.
47, 40.
Wherever, in Midtown Manhattan, we can
48.
say. He's got his skyscraper and he's, and he on this mezzanine outside, there's a little garden, he sits there in the afternoon and they bring the press and they're all there, the reporters, and Prabhupada knows how to work the press and give them talking points, and also how to flatter the ego of the Americans. So he says, America is the most important country in the world. New York City is the most important city in America, and they're all New Yorkers. No, New York City. He said, and in New York City, Fifth Avenue is the most important street. Yeah, He said, on that street, we are having our Rath Yatra Festival. So he told them how to present it, right? So on that street, which is the most important street in the most important city, etc., in the world, the police they've shut down the New York's finest, as they're called. The police are all on either side, and the 3 chariots are coming, and Prabhupada always rode on Subhadra's chariot, and the last one, right? And there's hundreds of devotees doing Nam Sankirtan. It's an ecstatic celebration that will culminate in Tompkins Square Park in the village. And it really occurred to me years later that Krishna was celebrating, the feast, celebrating Srila Prabhupada. This was Krishna's gift to him. If you ask Prabhupada, he's saying, no, this is all for Krishna. And certainly everyone chanting Krishna Nam and the Rath Yatra, Jagannth, Balabhadra, Subhadra. But that person who risked his life, had the heart attacks in the ocean and came, the insignificant beggar, he's atop the chair on the Jagannath Rath Yatra. He's being paraded down the #1 street on the planet and the world and celebrated by Krishna. That was Krishna's gift to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So, Madhusudan Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Please
this is why we are on Parikrama, to hear these wonderful things.
We didn't make it to Mayapur yet.
No problem.
I mean, well, we're in Mayapur, but I mean to Antardweep, the Chaytanya Mat and the Neem Tree.
This is waiting for us tomorrow, Maharaj. There's no problem. And this is why we are on Parikrama. And it feels like Parikrama, Maharaj. It's joyful.
Yes. Hare Krishna. All right. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Echai Gochai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaha Hoite Vignanas Abhishta Puran Echai Gochai Jar Mui Tarodas Echai Gochai Jar Mui Tarodas Kansabara Pada Renu Mora Panchagram Chandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas Janame More Abhilas Echai Gochai Jabe Braje Koilovas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prakash O Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Bhajayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Korinam Sankirtan Koe Narotamadan Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Gaura Hari Bo Jai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Gaura Hari Bo Jai Sri Nabadwip Dham Parikrama Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya Saraswati Sri Srimad Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Thakur Srila Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Sri Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinode Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Srila Jagannth Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Govinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Ju Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Go Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Govina Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Nabadwip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Sri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Om Vishnu Pad, Vishvavarena, Srilay, Si Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sri Chaytanya Saraswat Mata Charja Vrinda Ki Jai, Jai Sri Bhaktivinode Avadhut Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Sri Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai, Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai, Seva Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Shri Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Shri Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj, Manindra Mohan Prabhu and all the Vila Govinda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai. And
Shri
Krishna Kantadidi serving Tulsi Devi next door.
Hare Krishna Kanta Devi Ki Jai. Jai Sri Hari Prabhu Ki Jai. Rasikananda Prabhu Ki Jai. The Tonks Ashram Jai. Hare Krishna in Siberia Ki Jai. Lakshmana Didi in Petersburg Ki Jai. Sri Lanka Didi. Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Chaitanya Nidhai Prabhu and Vrindavan Dandavat. The deities' new outfits arrived. Very beautiful. Will be offered on Sri Gaur Purnima. Hare Krishna. Who's here? Deity. There's no name for me to see. My Dandavats. Devashish Prabhu and all the London Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Rasananda Prabhu and Sochi. Dandavat. Praneshri Didi. Dandavat. Abhazia, there's Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj, Yashodanandan Prabhu, Dandavat, Supriya Didi, Dandavat, Nihao, she's in China, Hare Krishna, Jivana Didi and Krasnodar, Dandavat, Divya Shakti, Deity, Dandavat, Rasamoi Pandita, Dandavat, Jamuna's mama, Elena, Dandavat, there's Dandi Maharaj and Bhakta Vrinda, Dandavat, Lakshmi Priya Didi, Dandavat. And then this is Kalindi Priya's mom, right? Vrivda, Devidasi and Nishdi Novgorod, Dandavat. Sandeep, Krishna Prabhu and Maheshri Didi, Dandavat. Gaura Nataraj does, Dandavat in Brazil, Hare Krishna. Anjali, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Saraswati Didi, Dandavat. Gaurachandra Prabhu, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Banavi Didi and Rama, Dandavat. Uteshri Didi and Zaporozhye, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Kumkum Didi, Dandavat. Ananta Shesh Prabhu in Spain, Dandavat. Sulalita and Ors, Dandavat. And Bhagavan Das, Dandavat. Paramananda Prabhu in Japan, Dandavat. Anindita in Sochi, Dandavat. Ajita, Krishna. And the butter thief, Makhan Chor Prabhu in Kaselni, Dandavat. Navanita, yeah. Where were we? Oh, Prem Narayan Prabhu, where did he go? Dandavat. Purushottam Prabhu with Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Sundara, Nagara Bara Nityam Nijer Namavi in Salt Lake City, the Nectar Lake City. Hare Krishna. Leela Sundar Prabhu, Dandavat. Govinda Nandini Didi, Dandavat. Indubala, Devi Dasi, Dandavat. Divya Shakti is worth more Dandavats. Let's give more Dandavats to Divya Shakti Didi. Prem Narayan, Dandavat. What else? Nityananda Das is here. Sulakshana Didi, he's doing Russian translation. Sulakshana Didi is doing Chinese. Kamalini Didi Dandavat. Gauranath or Dandavat. And Pavan. Prabhu is working on the deities' house, hopefully for Gaura Purnima. Ananda Leela Didi in Brazil, Dandavat. Tungarasa Didi, Dandavat. Shanti Moyi. And Italy, Dandavat. Ajitasha, Dandavat. Prafula Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Seva Rupa Didi, Dandavat. Is that Krishna Mohini Didi, Dandavat? Madhavilata, Dandavat. Sutitra, Dandavat. Indira Didi, Dandavat. Chandrakanti in China, Nalina in China, Dandavat. Ragaleka Didi, Dandavat. Is that everyone?
Yes, Maharaj. Karim Didi's husband, Jean-Francois.
Oh, Jean-Francois. Comment ça va? Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatribhyascha kripasindu vevacha patitanam bhavanevyo vaishnavevyo namo namaha. Jevanadiri and Cousin Lord Dandavat. Hare Krishna.